Ow!
他们被监视，他们被监视，你看，他们被监视了。
这就是那个戴头套的可以 ，GoPro 戴头套。
为什么戴？为什么？
可以戴头套的，我知道，很好用。
Right, can we all start today by opening our notebooks, writing the title and the date, please? Yes, John? Parents meeting, grade 6, yes, I'll be going there. Right, today we'll be learning about the Incas, and hopefully by the end of today we'll be able to examine the lives of the Incas and talk about them a little bit, see why they're different from the Chinese, and also differentiate between something called primary sources and secondary sources. Some of you may already know what that is, don't worry if you don't. First thing you do, title and date please everybody. As we go through this today, we will be writing down notes as per normal. We're a bit short on time, so try your best to keep those notes short, concise. Just take down the important information, please. Yeah? You normally do, right, John? Good. Okay. Ready? Fantastic. Right, today we're learning about the Incas. Can somebody tell me, first of all, when did Homo sapiens get to South America? Check your notes from last lesson. Yes?
15,000 years.
15,000 years ago. Very good. How old are Homo sapiens again?
200,000.
200,000. So, in South America, Homo sapiens were very, very young. They were talking about the Incas. Who were the Incas? The Incas were a small tribe who lived in the city of Cusco, Peru in 1400 AD. So from about 15,000 years ago to 1400 AD, 600 years ago, that's a big jump in time. Yeah, a very big jump in time. 15,000 years ago to 600 years ago. What do we think people were doing for all that time? Hunting, eating, farming, partying, yeah, making families, exploring. Now the reason we're talking about the Incas and we've jumped to this period of time is because these are one of the first big civilizations. We start to see big cities happening. And this only happened 600 years ago in South America. What actually happened is they got attacked, the Incas. They won, and they decided that attacking other tribes was a good idea. So they started expanding into Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. And it only took about 100 years. So write down everything, make sure you make the notes small. Not right now.
Just move it.
Okay, yeah.
Just tell me we move it.
Okay? The Incas were very famous for their buildings. They were very, very good at building. Whereas we build with cement, the stuff you put in between bricks, they didn't do that. They didn't know how to make it. So they actually made their stones fit perfectly.
What?
Yeah. So these stones aren't stuck together with cement, like all bricks are. They're actually just very, very carefully carved. So they're like Lego blocks.
So what if you just take it from
Nope, no, they were so perfectly put together, you couldn't even fit a piece of paper through them.
water?
No water. What? Knife? No, knife's far too big. A piece of paper couldn't get through. Couldn't get through. So this is a very famous place called Machu Picchu. It's very beautifully designed, right?
Yeah.
You might have seen a picture like this before. Yeah? Beautiful, beautiful. This is Machu Picchu, and this is the heart of Inca civilization. They had swimming pools and they had lovely houses, ponds and such. Oh, you're getting way ahead of yourself. But yes, you'll learn about that next lesson. Next lesson you'll learn a lot more about the Incas. Today. Unfortunately I won't be there next lesson, but you will learn. You're not going to be here? Then you've got a lot of homework to do. Yeah. Oh, do you not know what advanced means?
Yeah.
Were they modern? Were they new society? Did they do things? Did they do things now that are quite impressive? Are you impressed by them?
No.
No? You don't think anything they did was good?
But they use it potato.
They made potatoes, yeah. Well, if you didn't think they were an advanced society, you can say why you didn't think they were an advanced society.
Oh.
Today we're going to learn about something called primary and secondary sources. I know a lot of you might already know what this is. If you do, just listen up. Primary and secondary sources are something you're going to use very much in, well, if you're in debate club, yes, but also in Will's history classes in grade 8.
We'll teach history.
Yeah, we'll teach history. No need for notes, everybody. I just want you to be able to listen today and be able to differentiate between what a primary and secondary source is. We're going to look more at these over the next few weeks. So, what is a primary source? A primary source is information created at that time about an event. So, for example, if Mark teacher writes a book about his life, the time is my life, the events are my life, and the information that's created is the book, right? I'm creating it. Okay. Please. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but we'll get there. What is a secondary source? Well, that's the information created at a later time to the event by somebody who wasn't there. So, an example of a secondary source might be somebody writes a book about my life 100 years in the future. Not easy. Right. These are examples of a primary source. They are photographs, videos, or audio recordings. They are something that is created at the time. Nothing gets in between. If you take a photograph, that is a captured event. Okay? Yeah.
Some ADP where you can actually put some stuff inside to
Okay, let's talk about that later. Let's talk about that later. This tells an event as 100% fact. It is a fact. You look at the video, that is what happened. You look at a photograph, that is what happened. You listen to an audio recording, that is what happened, right? Nothing has got in between. Nothing is changing the information. The information is still the same. These are all primary sources. A secondary source is something that takes one of those primary sources and analyzes it, uses it. So, for example, a newspaper looks at that photograph and then talks about it. The person who's talking about it wasn't at the event. He didn't see the event. He's just using that primary source to talk about it. Or a magazine, right, might do the same thing. The person who was writing about the event wasn't really there. They are just analysing and using the information to talk about things the way they want to. Or, this is a biography. And it's written by a guy called Ross Carroll about Mao Zedong. Was he there with Mao Zedong when all these things were happening? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. But he wasn't the person who saw the events. Can I take this out? So a primary source, nobody's getting in between the event and what is happening. A secondary source is somebody who is using those primary sources to write about things. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to give you an example of a primary or a secondary source. And around you on the walls, I want you to walk around and stick it where you think it's a primary source or a secondary source.
So that's why you put.
I'm going to help you with this. If you find this very difficult, please let me know, and we'll come discuss it. Okay? John, can you get one of them? Did you?
That's why you stick those.
You did this? You get a candy? Not explaining the best going on. One for each person, please. One there, one at the back, there. Wait 1 second. Yes?
There's a secondary too. You could have one. You could take one. I have 10.
Really? Eddie, can you put the order in? Let me see. And do it together, please. Okay. And you. So, first of all, what you should be thinking is, what do I have? What is it? What is it?
Video camera.
Just the
Autobiography or biography? Was the person there at the event? Does it represent the event? Was somebody writing about the event or talking about the event after it happened?
Are we going to stick it out?
No. I want you to have a quick think of it. Can you sit down, Kyron? No. Okay. Have a think about it. What is it? Is it a primary source? Is it a secondary source? I want this group over here to walk around the class. One here, back there, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off you go. In the middle, you can have a go. Some in the back there. Have a walk around. See if you can find a primary or secondary source. Stand up, walk around. Off you go. Yes. How can you work together? Hello. Everybody thinks those are primary sources? Sorry, secondary sources? Autobiography. What do you think, buddy? Which one was yours, buddy? That one? The primary source?
That's secondary.
That's a secondary source?
This is a primary source.
Talking about something.
Ah.
No, this is a.
Nah.
Oh, old stuff.
That is meant to represent audio. So, buddy, which one was yours? This one. How is that a primary source?
学到 secondary source， 老师说这个 stands for audio， 这个 stands for video。
How is that a primary source?
Isn't this a primary source?
It was
Because
made
it was like,
by at that time.
And we made it at the time. Good.
wasn't this a primary source?
That's meant to be audio.
Is this an autobiography?
Not very good to it's a primary
This is
source.
supposed to be a primary source.
What do you think?
Video.
Modern day.
Because it's video.
Yeah.
Does it capture the event?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody like talk about the event, or is it 100% true? Like, has it been changed in any way?
Well, it did capture the moment right there.
Autobiography 是自传。
So what do you think?
It is primary.
Yeah, it is primary.
Exactly, buddy, it is.
No fighting, please. No fighting. How are they doing over here?
They've got that all right.
Okay, good. Objects about the time. Video recordings. Is this all you three?
No.
Having a good time, Tim. Well done. Well done.
Mike, Amy, Oliver.
You're what?
I'm the
Are you taking a...
Yeah, I'm taking a video. Secondary sources. How do you know? What is it?
history something like that.
It's a textbook.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Written by.
Yeah, so it's written by somebody else about the actual event, right? Okay. What do we think over here, guys?
I'm not sure if this made by himself or other people.
Ah, well, that Lord Charnwood under there means that somebody else wrote it, and it's a biography, not an autobiography, which means somebody else wrote it.
Oh, secondary.
So yes, it is secondary. Well done. Congratulations. Well done, everybody. Back to your seats, please. Okay. Amy, which one did you have? What did you have? What was your object? Yes. Yes. You had an autobiography, so was that a primary source or a secondary source? Primary source, and how do you know that?
Because the writer wrote about his life.
The writer wrote about his life. He was there, right? Yeah. Fantastic, well done. That's the bell. One more very quickly before we go. Eric? Oh, not Eric. Danny, sorry. What about you? What did you have? Shh, calm down. Sorry? World history, so a textbook, right? Yeah, and was that a primary or a secondary source? Secondary source. How do you know? Shh. Was the person there? Somebody else wrote it. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Right, before you go, everybody, your homework this week is to research primary and secondary sources. I want some sentences about what they are, and I also want you to think about which one is more reliable.
Primary.
Is it primary or secondary sources? Before you go, make sure you write down your homework. Thank you very much, everybody.